Today is Wednesday, February 10, 2021. Thank you for joining me. Grab a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, some yogurt, get comfortable, and let's get started with today's headlines. And let's start with the U.S. News and World Report. Politics. Democrats draw on emotion in Trump trial. The strategy of the 9 Democratic House impeachment managers emerged early on in Donald Trump's impeachment trial, make a personal and emotional appeal to the 100 senators. And they did that well, in my opinion. So, uh, really well, especially when you contrast to the very poor performance by Trump's own lawyers. Onto the top stories. Southerners less willing to get vaccine. More than a third of respondents in states such as Louisiana, Mississippi, and Idaho said that they're not likely to get vaccinated when they're able, according to the Census Bureau data. Biden keeps distance from the Trump trial. While Democrats prosecute Donald Trump in the Senate, the president has purposely kept the proceedings at arm's length. Virus cases drop, but worry remains high. European monitor U.S. elections fair. Biden's definition of in-person school. Poll Trump to form party popular with GOP. WHO, coronavirus not from China lab. 11 historically black schools with the highest four-year graduation rates. 2 of these historically black schools had a four-year graduation rate above 50% per U.S. News data. 7 Robinhood stocks to sell immediately. Flu shots, what you need to know. 10 tax breaks for people over 50. 12 test prep tips for SAT and ACT takers. 7 types of work burnout. I want to know that one. Black doctors struggle with dual pandemic burden, battling a disease that is disproportionately hammer their community while dealing with the stretched racism and discrimination creates a newly burden for black physicians. I thought that was an old posting. They are rehashing news or stories. 7 stocks that soar in a recession. These recession-proof stocks outperformed both in 2008 and during the pandemic-induced recession. Related, the 7 top EV stocks and battery companies. Palestine and global vaccine inequity. Criticism from the UN this week underscores contrasting vaccination rates between Israel and Palestine. Related, places with no COVID-19 cases. Most popular, 5 of the best stocks to buy on February. How to make your man love you and how to make your woman desire you. What is this? Transcript of Trump's speech at rally before the U.S. Capitol riot. Where can Americans travel right now? Bitcoin versus Ethereum, which is better buy. New recommendations on social distancing after vaccination are coming. Fauci. Yeah, these are old. New presidential Senate. That's a gorgeous image. Yeah, I think this, let me make sure, did I come? Yeah, well, this is today's because this happened yesterday. Well, with that impression of stale news, we thank US News. And we move on to the New York Times. Prosecution to make case against Trump for incitement of insurrection. House Democrats will argue their case today for convicting former President Trump in what would be an exceptionally short impeachment trial. Senators narrowly voted on Tuesday to move ahead, an indication that Mr. Trump is likely to be acquitted. Here's the latest on the impeachment trial. Fraud, fake ballots, landslide. We won. Lie after lie. Listen to how Trump built his alternative reality. Donald Trump's lies and calls to action were embraced by his supporters, then amplified by rioters at the Capitol. Georgia prosecutors open criminal investigation on Trump call. Prosecutors are investigating former President Trump's January phone call to Georgia Secretary of State asking him to find votes. How right-wing radio stoked anger before the Capitol siege. Shows hosted by Rush Limbaugh, Sean Hannity, and other radio stars promoted debunked claims of a stolen election and urged listeners to fight back. Watch the graphic 13-minute video of the Capitol riot shown by House prosecutors. Former President Trump was enraged at the meandering performance of his defense lawyers. What? Well, after a brutal winter rise, U.S. virus deaths are declining. Opinion: how long can democracy survive QAnon and its allies? Politicians and political scientists wonder if there are electoral reforms that might blunt the lunacy. Spoiler alert: after Trump, will we ever look at these things the same way again? Isn't it 400 years enough? Cyberspace plus Trump almost kill our democracy. Can Europe save us? The new alliance shaping the Middle East is against a tiny bug. The New Deal's capitalist lessons for Joe Biden. How will Jeff Bezos spend his billions now? Thank you, Margaret O'Mara. That's a good headline. Martha Creshaw. Will insurrection lead to terrorism? The path to racial justice runs through this agency. The secret my mom told me never to tell. Shang-Gi Kim. This case could accelerate the end of the death penalty in America. Thank you, Emily Baseline. Undoing anti-immigrant Trump policies means looking at the fine print. Hundreds of little noticed but consequential revisions will remain in place unless President Biden's team specifically looks for those changes. There's nothing left. Why thousands are leaving the Republican Party. Voting registration data indicates a stronger than usual flight from the GOP since the Capitol riot, a New York Times analyst found. I did something useful. Unemployed workers fight virus in temporary jobs. Chicago schools deal approved after limbo that left parents frustrated. The upper crust has its candidate. Don't call him the black boomerang. Raymond McGuire has conquered Wall Street and kibitz with Steve Martin, but he's eager to reach beyond wealthy supporters in New York's mayoral race. The first advertising blitz in the mayor's race has an unlikely star, Barack Obama. The surprising ascent of cause. Brian Donnelly went from teenager to blue chip artist, writing the increasingly blurry lines between commercial and fine art. Yeah, I think when looking back, we're going to see this era as not pop art, but com art, commercial art. Yeah, com art. A brash new way to make Wall Street deals has some issues. SPACs are shell companies that let businesses sell shares to the public with different disclosures. A deal book columnist asks, what could go wrong? Despite pandemic disruptions, GM reports $6.4 billion profit in 2020. Sales of pickup trucks and sport utility vehicles in the second half of 2020 offset damage caused by the spring. Here's the latest in the economy. The former baseball star Alex Rodriguez announced this month that his investment firm was aiming to raise $500 million for a blank check fund. China's Mars mission begins orbit of the red planet. The Tianwen-1's mission is the second of 3 new visitors to Mars this month. Amazing, amazing that we live in an era where we can explore new frontiers. And with that, we thank the New York Times. Oh, and by the way, look at this little tiny. I'm not a cat, says lawyer having Zoom difficulties. The video was immediately shared widely and brought joy to many. The lawyer, Rod Ponton, said he was happy people got a much needed laugh. It was funny. And with that, we thank the New York Times. We move on to ABC News. Trump impeachment trial live updates. Managers to show new security footage of riot. Key takeaways from the first day of Trump's second impeachment trial. Trump's lawyers say he's not impeachable. Trump called for impeaching Obama in 2020. Aunt Jemima announces new name. Cop talks armed robber suspect into surrendering. Union okays deal for Chicago schools to return 26 rescued from ice flow in Lake Superior. Seoul offers free COVID-19 testing for pets. Alabama to carry out first execution amid pandemic. Police in Europe bust gang hijacking celeb phones. 1 dead in shooting at health clinic. EU lawmakers okayed $815 billion recovery plan. Eiffel Tower needs blowtorch for ice. France seeks to set age of sexual consent at 15. Qu'est-ce que c'est? Officials, explosions in Kabul killed 215. Over a dozen Capitol rioters say they were following Trump's guidance. Legal security of Donald Trump intensifies post-presidency. Legal scrutiny. Trial focuses on what Trump wanted and when he wanted it, the note. After suffering personal tragedy, Representative Raskin steps up to lead prosecution of Trump. Impeachment. Here's how the process works. At least 100 million Americans under weather alerts as huge winter blasts to get worse. 2 masks may be better than 1, CDC study finds. 2 more bodies found 6 weeks after Norway landslide. Throttle problem suspected in fatal crash of Sriwijaya Air Flight 182. Randy Jackson, this 3-minute routine transformed my life, my health. The terrifying day I defected. Nadia Comaneci tells the story behind her perfect. Pharmacist who attempted to spoil hundreds of COVID vaccine doses pleads guilty. Single this Valentine's Day, have a date with a cow. Thanks to Stony Field. And with that, cutie cow. With that, we thank ABC News for Wednesday, February 10th. That is Headlines in bed. Thank you for joining me. It looks great outside. Make it a great one. See you tomorrow. Bye.